I'm delighted to be standing before you. Somebody asked me, many traffic jams in any of the metropolis in this country happens because of the movement of the so-called very important persons, VIPs. And they also wanted to know, how can a VIP's movement be restricted? Oh God, a very interesting question, is it? How can you stop a VIP from moving from one place to another? They asked the same question with a city police commissioner of a city. I don't want to name that city. He gave a reply, very interesting reply. Said, most of these so-called VIPs move from one place to another either to inaugurate something or attend a small group meeting. If these two things can be done before 7 a.m. in the morning, traffic jams in my city can be avoided. 7 a.m. in the morning. That man went to the minister and said, the police commissioner of your city, look at this. How he gave a reply, is it possible? The minister said, in our country, there is 95% of all politicians in the country who hold a position wake up very early in the morning. It's a very interesting factor. I also don't know. And after that, I started verifying which MLA gets up at what time, which minister gets up at what time, which chief minister gets up at what time. Very interestingly, they all are early risers. So the minister seems to have said, it is possible, provided people who organize these programs also get up early in the morning and organize the programs. Information seeking is not only a very difficult responsibility, but sometimes is also very exploring. Many problems are solved by simply asking for some information. I have seen in the course of my discharge of public duty, I have seen my own officers at a different level. When there is somebody who asks a question or some information, the pendency is sorted out first and then a reply is sent. The solution is, you have certain time to reply for the kind of a petition made on to you. And from the day you get that petition and the reply is sent, you have some work done. And many of them have said, particularly this happens at the Tahsildar and the Deputy Collector's level. They attend to the task and then they report it back saying that, yeah, this is what has been happened, this is what has happened, or this is what is the fact. Professor Madabushi was saying a very interesting fact about that wonderful, playful God, Krishna. Krishna in his Bhagavad Gita said, he was not only knowledgeable, had all information on his fingertips, and knew also what was going to happen, and therefore he was facilitating those future likely happenings to, in order, likely happenings he knew earlier, and therefore he facilitated them to happen. He said, Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Truth about anybody's action must be made known. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha. Truth about inaction must also be known. We are interested in inaction in most cases. If you see, RTI also probes into inaction. So when he quoted Krishna, I thought I must also dwell a little on the kind of knowledge he passed on to Arjuna, and said, not only about your action, Babu, truth about your inaction also must be known, and known very widely. Everybody should know about it. Mahatma Gandhi very truly trusted in those wonderful two lines. And he said, Swaraj is possible not by acquisition of authority, but by the acquisition of capacity by all to resist authority when abused. Authority, more often than not, is abused. Yesterday I was conducting some interviews in ABPSC, the Group 1 services. One person, one of the members asked, acid throw. That boy was from Warangal, and so he asked a very, pertinent question. Acid throw on a college-going girl by a Manava Mrigam, and his reactions to it. That boy said, he named a police officer who was there at that time, SP, and he said, on the spot, he had bumped him off. Somebody from Andhra Pradesh know that story very well. He bumped him off on the spot and did justice. Authority culminating into that kind of an action, about which Professor Madabushi had also written extremely brilliant articles. Instant justice by a police officer, which even communities have started thinking that he had done right or she had done right. And the manner in which people have started even answering in such important, is life and death. The interview in a Group 1 service examination is a life and death question, trying to support the action of a police authority. Unfortunately, people, however genuine they may be, however honest they may be, however good they may be, if authority in their hands make them act in a manner that they want and they think this is justice, I think society is going to pay a very huge cost for it. And therefore Mahatma Ji said those days, authority please, but then see how somebody's authority can also be kept under check. It's not, Swaraj is not authority by a few, but questioning that authority by a large number of people. I am delighted to see how RTI had been taken from the bottom of its basic content and how it has graduated to what it is in Andhra Pradesh. But still, there are many things that we as an entity in the government should be looking at. We have, even then, there are certain things which are not happening the way that we want. There are questions. People are questioning even the action of very senior decision makers at a different level, including the appointments that were challenged recently. All that on one side, and the very fact that there is an act and there may be somebody who may try to ask for some information on this issue is going to really keep the delivery system in good state. Therefore, we thought we must start a large band of young men and women in rural Andhra Pradesh called Bharat Nirman volunteers, who would not straight away go and create some kind of a rupture with the delivery system, but they would at least associate with the delivery system. The hypothesis, as we all know, when a more aware community starts demanding for services, the delivery system is bound to respond. We have seen polio, how the polio had been eradicated from our country. When you created awareness, there are people who are carrying their children, and there are delivery systems which are established in bus stand, railway station, airport, in this street, that corner. Delivery system responds provided there is an aware community coming and trying to demand. RTI has to make communities aware so that the delivery system will open up and start responding. It's already happening, but it has to happen with more vigor and with a large number of people trying to go to the rural areas where information is lacking. And therefore, there are 34,000 young boys and girls today trying to make that happen, make each household aware that this is what is available, you are eligible for this, and let's go and see that that delivery of service is made available to you. Otherwise, I may please be pardoned for my last one quote before I take leave. All the kind of facilities that we go on creating in the name of improving delivery system, improving transparency in administration and governance, and in the name of eradicating poverty will only be on paper. Resources will undoubtedly be spent, no question. You allocate year over year, if you have seen the kind of 20%, 25% in every state government's budget increase does not mean anything. There are resources allocated. There are programs brought in order to challenge the practices in the government delivery system. We thought Aadhaar will hold enormous promise. But we have seen how one state which adopted it had not done justice, and another state which promised that it would happen, our state, could not take off. There are problems. We may try to do something to tinker the existing system, but the core has to improve only when people are made aware. And people, in order to become aware of what there is in a program or what helps them to improve their quality of life, the basic need today in the rural community is quality of life. If that has to improve, perhaps the rural community has to know what is there for that family available in a given program, which will only be made available to. Last time I was very interestingly, some of our colleagues were there, I spoke to them. An advertisement in a newspaper does not mean anything today, please. And newspaper readers, you know, the clientele who subscribes to the newspapers, and the community to whom an advertisement is meant. Whom should Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan go and reach is a family whose child is not going to school, whereas a beautiful full-page advertisement comes to me onto my table, coffee table every day morning. Therefore, there is only the hope there is a facilitator at the village level in order to communicate to the people who deserve some support from the government in order to improve their quality of life. That's made possible only by the RTI. This is my firm belief, and therefore we are there trying to do from APARD itself. There is a wing which addresses and some small effort in order to enlighten, carry this message to these young men and women. An effort is on, and government is very well supporting it. We are very proud of it. Thank you very much.